My name is Jeremy Lachlan, and this podcast is brought to you by my company, Momentum Worldwide Movers. We focus on providing tailor-made solutions to match the needs and specific requirements of each customer, since every move is unique. Michael Bobrov is the founding partner of Japan Startup Advisory, a boutique consultancy dedicated to helping startups and global businesses launch, scale, and succeed in Japan. JSA offers strategic and hands-on guidance across market entry, regulatory compliance, operations, retail, and product development, drawing on decades of experience building successful ventures in Japan. Michael is also the CEO and founder of HealthyTOKYO, widely recognized as Japan's CBD pioneer and a leader in plant-based innovation. In 2016, HealthyTOKYO pioneered the introduction of CBD oil to the Japanese market. The company has played a leading role in raising public awareness and setting industry standards through a series of landmark initiatives, including the world's first airport CBD shop and Japan's first fully vegan cafe in an airport, milestones that contributed significantly to the industry's growth. Originally from the US, Michael has lived in Japan for over 35 years. He has more than 2 decades of executive experience in the pharmaceutical and medical device industries with Schering, Medrad and Bayer. He holds an MBA in International Management and Marketing with a minor in Japanese. All right, Michael, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
So, the more that I use social media, the less I like it. But thanks to Facebook, you and I got connected. We had a lot of mutual connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we've been living here for a while.
Yeah.
But I also noticed that you're connected to my cousin,
Yeah.
who is in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I found that really interesting. So I decided to reach out to you. And I learned that you guys worked together
Yes.
back in a previous life,
Mm-hmm.
back in Pittsburgh. You spent some time in Pittsburgh, and that eventually, that industry brought you to Japan. So I'm curious to know if you could tell me a little bit more about, Medrad, your previous company,
Mm-hmm.
and how that landed you in Japan.
Okay. Well, there's a lot more before Medrad, actually. I won't go too. I'll try to summarize that real quick. Medrad did not bring me to Japan, actually. I came to Japan many years ago as a student, and after doing a number of things, finishing up my college, going to grad school with an MBA in International Management and Marketing in Japanese, studying at the graduate level, I was looking for a job and decided I had already lived in Japan before, so I decided to apply to various places, and one of the places that I got into was Schering, which is a pharmaceutical company, later became Bayer, as we say in the U.S. And Schering at that time was looking to acquire a company for a number of reasons that was involved in medical device. So I was actually on the acquiring side, so we found this beautiful company in Pittsburgh called Medrad, and there was a lot of compatibility with the pharmaceuticals that we were selling. So we ended up acquiring Medrad, which is a Pittsburgh-based company. And over time, ended up becoming the president here in Japan of that company.
Right. But Schering, was it?
Schering at the time.
Schering.
Yeah.
That is a German company, or
German.
was a German company?
German pharma company
Yeah.
that was later acquired by Bayer.
Yeah.
So I worked for that organization for over 20 years. 14 years with Medrad, actually. And that's where I met your cousin.
Yeah.
And we worked on a bunch of stuff together. Actually, I never actually lived in Pittsburgh, but I spent a lot of time there.
Right. So you have the German connection, and then you have the German company connection, and you have the Pittsburgh company connection.
Mm-hmm.
How did Japan, how did that lead to you moving to Japan?
Well, I had already lived in Japan before that,
Okay.
when I was a student. So when I was a student, then I came back and I worked in a psych hospital for a number of years, and I went back and went to grad school, and I came back and worked in pharma. And again, that led me to the connection with Medrad, and I just ended up staying in Japan for now. I've been here for more than 40 years.
Okay.
40, yes.
Okay. But you've been in the pharmaceutical medical device industry you were in that industry for a while, right?
Yeah, more than 20 years I was in that industry. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of executive management background
Yeah.
in the corporate world, right?
Yes.
But now you're doing something that's completely different. So, and part of this podcast is kind of about exploring individual kind of decisions
I see.
and how they kind of navigate the business world in Japan, but also at the same time explore more about themselves and the kind of self actualization kind of things, right? So I'm really curious to understand, why you decided to leave that corporate world and then go into the healthy Tokyo kind of that kind of completely different world, right?
Yep.
But I gotta ask, is when you first moved to Japan, what was that like? Did you
Oh, so
come
this
with a couple
you're
suitcases? I guess if
you're
you're
talking the early 80s.
yeah, yeah.
My first trip to Japan was I think 82 or 83. It was a very different place. So
Okay.
no iPhones, no signage in English, no announcements in English. So you really had to speak Japanese, learn
You didn't even
Japanese.
have the Sekigai Sen,
No, we didn't even have
Yeah.
that. So we we had so it was a very different place. It was still the bubble period here,
Yeah.
so things were quite expensive from the point of view. I'm from the U.S. If you can't tell from my accent.
That's all in the intro, but it's all right.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so it was a very different place than it is today. But I love Japan. I'm a hardcore lover of Japan. It has, like every place has its it has its areas which are more difficult sometimes, but I love living here. And I've speaking of, you asked me more about my personal drive and self-realization. I'm a very self-reflective person, so I look very much to, what am I doing now? What should I be doing? What do I want to be doing? And when you coming back to your question, I worked in corporate for all those years, and I found I had the opportunity to build a lot when I was there. I restructured the entire marketing and sales organization. I did a lot of different things. And with Medrad, they did not have a company here. So when I became the president there, I had to build the company here. So we built the company, and we were fairly successful. And then when Bayer acquired us, I also was working as the head of radiology for them and managing as the president of Medrad. But what I realized at one point was the money was nice. The things I got to do. There's not a prefecture in Japan I have not been to. I was in the hospital business, so all the major hospitals in Japan, pretty much all of them I've been in, lots of the minor ones. Made lots of connections. I learned a lot. I worked with Boston Consulting and a lot of other really top guys along the way. But I realized that I'm a guy who really likes building, and I've always been a creative guy, but I'm a creative guy, and I really thought, do I really want to stay in the corporate world? And I decided that, I'd like to rebirth myself a bit, and decided to leave it all and start something else called HealthyTOKYO. Yeah.
Okay. So in the early stages of the second career, let's just call it the second career for now.
My rebirth.
Your rebirth.
Yes.
Okay, that's better. You were talking more about medical tourism.
Yes.
Because you're involved in CBD now, but let's maybe take a step back. And what was the hook into that field?
Again, being self-reflective, really wanting to learn something new. So I had done a lot of corporate stuff. My Japanese is at a high level. I, was able to present and do all kinds of things around the world. So I had that experience. But at that time, one thing I did not know much about was the web. How does it work? How does SEO work? And all the other things. So that was one of the things I identified. I'm going to make a business around. I had some different criteria, but one of them was it's going to be web-based. Second one, that it was going to be related to medical. And there were some other ones in there. But I ended up choosing medical tourism because medical tourism was slated to become something great in Japan according to the government. And so I thought, okay, who better to do it than me with my experience with all these doctors and everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you explain the difference between like medical tourism and kind of like wellness tourism, or are they the same thing?
Well, it's a subset, but medical tourism is crossing borders for medical or wellness care.
Mm.
And I've always been in wellness, okay? I've always been in health and wellness. Let's say that
Okay.
since the beginning of my career. So the idea was with Healthy Tokyo in the beginning was to have this website, which again I wanted to learn about the web, but to have this website where people could who needed medical or wellness assistance could come onto the site. We would highlight all of these facilities and introduce them through a concierge service as well to these different facilities. It was a little bit before its time. If we had that right now, I think it would be extremely successful. But I ended it after several years. We first focused on foreigners because there was nothing like that. There's still not really anything like that in Japan. So where you can really get appointments for different things. People generally tend to gravitate towards some of the, the St. Luke's and the other hospitals that are dealing with
Right.
foreigners
Right.
more
And
here.
you would say that there's only a handful of those kind of places?
Those kind of places, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're actually what we found, and we dug up a lot of places that actually had doctors who had studied overseas, doctors who spoke English. And by the way, it wasn't just Japan initially. I finally focused it back on Japan and wellness. I extended from medical also with wellness, which is how we got to the next stage of my career. But so yeah, I would say we found a lot of doctors, some of whom are when I meet them, are very thankful even today because we introduced them to so many non-Japanese and really drove their business.
Hmm.
So yeah, there are a lot of places around actually, and more now that
Hmm.
cater smaller places too that cater to non-Japanese as well.
Hmm. Well, that's good to hear. Now, what you're doing now, it's not so much related to, well, it is related to wellness, I guess, but you're selling products now. You know, you have the CBD and you have kind of the vegan things
Hmm.
and all of that.
Hmm.
Um, can you tell us a little bit more about the genesis of that?
Hmm.
And this is something that strikes me as, CBD is probably something that's still considered taboo. You disagree with me, right? But that seems like it's something that would have been extremely difficult to get off the ground here.
Hmm.
And I'm sure your Japan experience and everything behind that helped you a lot along the way.
Yeah.
But could you just kind of explain the genesis of that?
So for good or for bad, I'm a guy. I'm a challenger,
Yeah.
and so sometimes that works out well. Sometimes it takes longer than expected. I'm
Hmm.
also a guy that, in general, I kind of have to experience something in order to. I'm very strategic, but I kind of have to experience it in order to really make a decision on where to go. So theoretically, choosing something like a business and then just going and saying, okay, theoretically it's good. I actually need to experience it. So the progression I've taken, and I'll take you a little bit through what I've done because CBD is a big part of my business, but also vegan food or natural food, let's say, is a very big part of my business as well. So we had this Healthy Tokyo. It was actually called Healthy IM in the early days, and we morphed into Healthy Tokyo, and we were doing wellness and medical. And over time, we started getting quite a following. So we decided to start handling product. And at first, we were just going to places that had products that were defined as healthy, anything from STD kits to whey protein to all these different things. And Amazon was there, but it was not as big as it is today.
Hmm.
And so we had over 1,000 products in English for health and wellness, which we later also moved to Japanese as well. So we were selling product based on the following of being a health and wellness company. And from that, we started to make some of our own products. So we started with matcha, again, very early. Now matcha is a giant boom, but when we started, not too many people knew. So we made quite a nice business with that initially. And that was the first Healthy Tokyo branded product that we did. Then in 2015, we found out about CBD. And there was another company that I worked with, and we kind of blazed the trail here. I mean, the laws said that you could have product if it was made in a certain way. I won't get into all the details, but you could have product that was made in a certain way.
Right.
And if the THC levels were limited, the THC, for those of you who don't know, is the substance that gets you high. So that's quite illegal here in Japan. So we found a way to bring in CBD legally after talking with a lot of lawyers and doing a lot of things. And we started with the CBD business here. And yes, initially it was quite an uphill battle, but only for the Japanese population. Remember, HealthyTOKYO initially was English based. We by that time already Japanese as well. So the English audience, people were much more familiar with cannabis, much more familiar with this rising product called CBD. Because when we were younger, you didn't really hear about CBD. You only heard about, THC, basically. You didn't. They didn't call it THC. You just called it weed or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So CBD, for those of you who don't know, is one of the components in one of over 100 components in the cannabis plant that actually has no high to it, no euphoric feeling, but is an anti-inflammatory and also is great for anxiety and also for sleep and for a number of other things. In Japan, it's sold as a food. That's the categorization that we have that it's under. And as long as you adhere to the laws, which have changed, by the way, over time. Last year, there was a big change to the cannabis laws in Japan.
Okay.
We've been able to ride that, and also we've always been very compliant coming from pharma, right, initially.
Okay.
And so
That's good.
So we have very compliant product and an excellent reputation at this point with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But how is it categorized as food in Japan? Like,
how is it categorized?
because it really isn't.
You only have certain categorizations in Japan, right? You have pharmaceutical, you have functional products, which require a certain process to get them approved for functional. You have food, and you have cosmetics. So the truth is that in Japan, there's a real need right now for a separate category for cannabis products.
Right.
Because you want to be able to say, I can tell you on a podcast that they're effective.
Yeah.
But we can't tell our customers, take this product, it'll be effective for you. We're not allowed to say that. The same way you can't for supplements, you can't say this is going to cure or
because you're not going to go into Matsukiyoshi and see any CBD stuff.
Oh, you will soon.
You will?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
And is that directly related to your business, or is it kind of because the market is becoming more saturated?
I am one of we call our company a pioneer, Japan CBD pioneer, which is true. But personally, I'm also very active in the industry, and I'm the chair of a organization called MAJIC, MAJIC, Manufacturers Association of Japan Industrial Cannabis, where we are kind of a think tank and setting a lot of direction for the industry. And so I've been very active in doing that stuff as well. So one of the things is to get it categorized properly. But right now, it's set as a food.
Okay. Yeah. With all of the news, the negative kind of news, and the low public opinion of anybody who's doing anything kind of for therapeutic, even therapeutic levels of stuff. It sounds like it would be a serious uphill battle to kind of raise awareness or distribute these things in a productive way, anytime soon. So what has that journey been like?
So
because it's not just you, right? I mean, how many people are in this organization you have, this MAJIC, which I think is very properly named?
There are a number of companies in there, but putting that aside, your opinion is not necessarily the reality now. So there are people who still think of CBD as marijuana, but there's particularly in the last 3 years, a growing change in the attitude of people towards cannabis overall, and that's because it's basically legal in the U.S. It's state by state, but basically legal. Canada's legal. Germany's legal,
Right.
Thailand's legal. So people are going. It's like the days when you couldn't have a drink in Chicago. You could, but you had to go to a speakeasy.
Yeah.
And you go over to Germany, or people to go to California and just walk into a regular shop and buy marijuana.
Right.
So
To Walmart or whatever.
so the attitude towards CBD, which doesn't get you high, and also from the point of view of the authorities, it's not something that gets you high. It has a very good profile, like the we don't say side effects, but the negative reaction to CBD physically. There are very few counterindications. There are some in pregnancy, certain medications that you don't want to take together with it, but in general, it's extremely safe and extremely effective. So people recognize that, and there's a growing awareness of that. And to that point, I mean, I have shops in some of the top department stores in Japan. Tokyo, Marui. We have
Right.
we have CBD. We're the only guys
Yeah.
to do that. And how many other people are in companies are in this industry? Because a lot of small companies, it's mostly small companies, small medium-sized companies, but because a lot of the smaller companies were not as compliant, and there were others who were using this as a catalyst to bring in synthetic cannabinoids. These would be things that get you high that are technically legal, but it's the gray zone. So there are a lot of companies that did that kind of stuff. They've all dropped out. So what's left in the arena now are companies like ours. There aren't that many, and some of the larger companies are now looking. That's why I say one day you will see it in the pharmaceutical. In the regular pharmacies, you will see it. Hopefully, it'll be HealthyTOKYO products, but
Yeah, of course. So do you think there will be a time where, like, the medical marijuana, right, is big in the US right
yeah.
now, and you have medical marijuana themed or focused stores,
Yes.
shops, right?
Yes.
Do you think there'll be a chance for CBD?
For CBD?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, obviously there is now, but I mean to have it kind of more kind of developed
I think so.
nationally.
I think so.
Yeah.
The market's a little stunted right now just because they changed the laws last year. And with the change in law, they did some things that were really good. They now allow it to be manufactured from any part of the plant. It used to be very restrictive. And they've defined what level of THC you can have now, where before it was kind of gray. We knew what it was, so we passed with everything that we did. But now it's extremely strict, probably the most strict in one of the strictest places in the world. So we've actually now have clarity. And so I think I actually have a presentation coming up next week at a conference in Japan, a health and wellness show. And that's what we're talking about. I mean, things are starting to settle. And once they settle, and once there's confidence in the laws, in the manufacturing, in compliance, then the other guys are going to start to come in, right? Or come in with us is one part of it as well. So
Right. So this is obviously something that's really challenging here in Japan. Is
Oh,
this kind of like
certainly,
is this kind
certainly.
of like your swan song, or is it like
No,
your mission, or
it's not my swan
yeah.
song. I hope you don't think that I'm ready to retire, because that's not happening yet. But I,
It's not
I,
what I said, but
well, the swan song
yeah.
would be like your last run, right? So
Okay, fair
yeah.
enough, fair enough.
So
But
so it is not my swan song. What's happened with CBD? I'd like to spend a couple minutes on that to tell you how it's progressed.
sure.
So one of the things we did early on is we paired CBD with food. We had an opportunity to go into Haneda Airport, which is like I don't remember, fifth or sixth. It's one of the bigger airports in the world. So we went into Haneda Airport, and as a CBD, we were invited in. They wanted us to do a restaurant, but they were okay with us bringing CBD. So we ended up doing vegan food, because that was in the theme of health and wellness, and also being a challenger again. Said, well, what's going to grow? What's not available? What's unique that we can offer? So we started with vegan, and we started pairing vegan food like cookies and cakes and drinks with CBD. So we became the first company in the world to sell CBD in an airport. We also became the first company in Japan to have a fully vegan restaurant in an airport. So we broke ground again there. That was very successful. We did that for about 6 years until the end of last year when our lease came up, and we had some strategic thoughts about where do we want to go. I personally thought, okay, what's the next challenge? Because the CBD market has flattened a bit. Our share is quite good, and our sales continue to grow, but most are not.
Yeah.
And we decided, okay, we have a lot of hotels and a lot of supermarkets and others who are asking us, because we've gotten to this level with our vegan food in the airport, which was, you've eaten our food. I mean, it's, yeah,
Hmm.
it's,
It's very good quality. It's very tasty,
yeah, yeah.
but you also have the therapeutic kind of the
Well, we
CBD.
have the CBD
Yeah.
side, but not everything is infused. So we have lasagna and muffins and all kinds of stuff
Right.
that's not infused as well.
Mhm.
So I decided about a little more than a year ago, to launch a new brand
Hmm.
called Plant Farm.
Yeah.
And Plant Farm has nothing to do with CBD. And we've taken the things that we've learned about making fantastic food. So, in the airport, 98% of the people that ate in our shop, and we had hundreds of thousands of people eating in our shop, were not vegan. They see the name Healthy Tokyo, okay, healthy food. But we're natural and vegan, and the Plant Farm brand is natural, vegan, gluten-free, halal friendly. It ticks off all the boxes, but it also tastes great. And we learned how to do that by being in the airport, where we need to please your average guy who eats meat usually, or eats fish or whatever. So we made a brand called Plant Farm that is universally accepted, or acceptable for hotels, for supermarkets, and others.
Okay.
And that's what I'm growing right now,
I see.
while at the same time doing Healthy Tokyo
So
CBD.
Plant Farm is distinct from Healthy Tokyo.
Yes, it's
Okay.
distinct from Healthy Tokyo.
Okay. It's
Yes,
different,
it's a separate business.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot going on.
Oh yeah.
And you also have the advisory, the
Yeah. Well, I've always done
that
consulting.
right?
Given the experience I have in medical, in wellness, in food, in manufacturing. We manufacture all of our products. So something else I learned along the way, we used to, have some CBD manufactured by someone else in our early days, or even our vegan food. And through discussions with some people I respect greatly in Japan, they told me, Mike, you need to learn how to do it yourself. Again, being the challenger that I am, I thought, oh, this will be easy. But now, fast forward, we manufacture all of our CBD products. We manufacture all of our food.
Hmm.
So we have complete control over the supply chain,
Right.
or the chain from acquisition of raw materials to finished product.
Hmm. So it sounds like the success you have had with Healthy Tokyo is kind of like laid the foundation for the Plant Farm,
Yes.
right? But it sounds like Plant Farm, to me, it sounds like it has more potential to kind of be kind of more widely distributed.
Hmm.
You know, I'm going to throw out kind of like the Whole Foods brand or
Hmm.
something like that.
Hmm.
But that could be something that could be a nationally kind of, well, Healthy Tokyo as well, but maybe a little bit more for the general
Well,
public, maybe. Or,
absolutely.
yeah.
You're right to your point. I mean, it's very easy for me to explain it, right? We have it's all natural,
Hmm.
with the exception of baking powder, and we use aluminum free.
Okay.
It's made with Japanese rice flour. It's vegan, it's gluten free, it tastes great, and it's halal friendly, and it's made in a gluten free kitchen. So we've done all this to put kind of a moat around the business that we do.
Mm.
By the way, all this stuff we learn on the journey with Healthy Tokyo. But yes, it's very easy for people to understand, because if you put a muffin in front of somebody and it looks great and it tastes great, and then you tell them it's all natural and it's plant-based and it's also has made with Japanese rice flour, it's like there's nothing to
good for you.
complain about. It's good for you. There's nothing to complain about.
Yeah.
Also, our sweetness in our products, it's more Japanese, so it's not overly sweet like a lot of products you would find in the U.S. or Europe, maybe, but particularly the U.S. So it has a distinct Japanese natural brand. It's a distinct Japanese natural brand.
And it's
very
locally
easy,
sourced as
locally
well. Yeah,
sourced, and as much as possible, right? So we use domestic rice flour, which is the main ingredient. So yes, it's very easy for people to understand, and the traction we've been getting with Plant Farm is excellent. So we're already in a number of big supermarkets and hotels and other places, and there's a lot more to go. But yes, I am busy. I am busy working on all this stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you just said a couple minutes ago that you have no plan to retire anytime soon. Um, what? So is it the challenge that drives you, or is it because you do a lot of different things, which is great, and some professionals, very, very successful professionals, they're kind of like on the same song, or like, on the same track, on the same beat, right? What do you even know yet? Like, what do you want to do later? Like, what do you want to accomplish, or, just keep on hopping from exciting project to exciting project, focused on Japan, it sounds like.
These are long-term things, right?
Yeah.
So HealthyTOKYO I've been working on for a long time. We established the company in 2011. So I've driven CBD and vegan food for many years. And the plant farm thing has legs, as you've correctly identified. So I think it's going to be quite popular, I believe. My philosophy on life, getting back to, besides being quite introspective, I'm always trying to learn new things. And I think what keeps me going is the challenges, and I like challenges, and I like resolving those challenges. It keeps me up at night, except when I take our HealthyTOKYO CBD night gummies. I feel I sleep very well. But I do, this stuff keeps me up at night because I got a lot going on in my head. But on the other hand, I'm learning continuously, So we learn with HealthyTOKYO, we learn how to do really good branding. We learn how to do, online stuff. We learn how to manufacture. We learn how to make food. And now I've created a new brand, which is a very attractive brand, which has excellent food that we've prepared, that we've learned over all these years. I mean, if you would go back to the time when we started in Haneda Airport, we had a vegan chef. Well, first we had a vegan baker who went bankrupt after two months. So we were relying on them for all the food. That went bust.
Yeah.
Then we hired a vegan chef who, by the way, for anyone who's making a vegan restaurant, I don't suggest hiring a vegan chef. I suggest hiring a chef who can make vegan food.
Who knows the ropes, right?
Because we had food melting in front of, like cake melting in front of the customer,
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous. So finally we figured out how to do it. So,
Okay.
But anyway, what drives me is these challenges, and also I'm in health and wellness. And I know this sounds sappy, but everything I work on, more than even what I did before in medical, is really good for people, right? So I'm selling CBD, which I believe is one of the greatest products out there, greatest substances out there, and we've uniquely made a lot of unique formulations in Japanese, in a Japanese way. But healthy food too. I'm plant-based food. You can argue about veganism and other things, but plant-based, all the studies that come out are telling you eat more plants. Eat less meat, eat more plants. Whatever your political alignment, your social alignment is on being vegan, and et cetera. So I feel it's healthy. And also over the years, I've gotten much more healthy. Being in this business, I really study about how foods affect your body. I work out regularly. I eat pretty healthy, and I don't drink a lot of alcohol. I used to drink more. Don't drink much alcohol anymore.
There's natural wine, and natural alcohol is also becoming natural, organic, produced things like that.
Yeah.
Would that be something you'd be?
Alcohol is
willing to
alcohol.
consider?
I'm not. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
For all you
All right,
listeners
so-
out there, I'm not
so-
against drinking.
So you're one of those guys. All right.
I'm not against drinking,
Yeah.
but alcohol overall, the more information that comes out, it's
Is-
like a little bit is not really okay. But it's like everything. I don't eat sweets a lot, but if I want to have a piece of cake, I will, and if I want to have a drink, I will. But I've toned it down just because I know what it does to my body and how I feel the next day. And
Right.
yeah.
In Japan, like, to the Japanese consumer, it's not really kind of like a lot about kind of like moderation kind of stuff. They like to experience
Yeah.
good things.
Yeah.
So I think probably the quality and the ingredients, right, is going to be more of a selling point to the Japanese.
That's
buyer.
absolutely right. I mean,
Yeah.
you've been in Japan a long time, so you're very perceptive on what points in the products that we're doing. The plant farm products, we used to have a tagline called "Vegan by Nature," which I came up with it. I thought it was good. Vegan by nature. It's, as an English speaker, it has two meanings. It's quite good. But I realized after we started placing product that it wasn't about being vegan. It was about being natural and also being made with Japanese domestic rice flour. That was the big one. And then on top of that, when you look at the label, it's plant-based, and when you look at the label, it's gluten-free, and it's halal-friendly for those who care about
The
being
word
halal-friendly.
jikase, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like it's homemade,
Yep.
but I think it has a different connotation in Japan where it's more like quality,
No,
right?
that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I already know the answer to this question, but your life, for the foreseeable future is going to be here in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
You have no interest in returning back to Philly or the U.S. or
No, so I am from outside of Philly.
yeah.
I enjoy visiting family, but I don't see myself living there. They say sumeba miyako, which is in Japanese, where it's basically, wherever you live becomes your capital or your home or whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
And I really believe that after all these years in Japan. It's one thing that I don't really want to change. I've traveled a lot. I like traveling. I like traveling less and less now just because I spent a lot of time in places like Izu, which is a beautiful area, not too far from Tokyo. Beautiful beaches, beautiful ocean, beautiful air.
It's a very beautiful place, and I've been there many times. I'm kind of worried though about the whole kind of the Akia and I think it's a good industry, right? But Izu is kind of a place to me that would be really susceptible to kind of like, let's buy some property down there and
Yeah.
let's take advantage of the beauty. It's a great place,
Yeah.
right? Right.
It's harder though. I mean, I've been there. I do have a home there, but it's harder to buy property. It took me 2 years to find the property that I have. And it's harder to find good property there. And also there are kind of unwritten restrictions on buying property. So as a foreigner, as you know, it does look ripe for that, but there are a lot of places that haven't been sold, or there are a lot of empty houses, Akia there, where people haven't been able to buy for one reason or another. And I think there's some barriers there.
Kind of sentiment.
There are barriers that the local government set up. If you're Japanese or if you're, been in Japan, you're a permanent resident, and you speak Japanese and you walk in, you probably are in a better situation than just somebody coming off the boat trying to buy property down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for taking us through the CBD and your very clear explanations. I think a lot of people who listen to this podcast would be interested in exploring that, and we encourage them to do so.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for your time today.
No, thanks. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks.